Life throws a lot our way, doesn't it? We navigate a world brimming with challenges, unexpected twists, and the constant hum of external pressures. It's easy to feel like a leaf caught in a storm, tossed and turned by every gust of wind. But what if there was another way? What if you could cultivate an inner fortress, a resilience so profound that no external event could truly shake your core? This isn't about becoming emotionless or cold. It's about becoming emotionally unstoppable. It's about harnessing the ancient wisdom of Stoicism, particularly the profound insights of figures like Marcus Aurelius, to forge a spirit that stands firm amidst chaos. Imagine a life where you respond to setbacks with calm resolve, where you find peace not by controlling the uncontrollable, but by mastering your perception and reactions. This journey isn't for the faint of heart, but the rewards are immeasurable. Inner peace, unshakable confidence, and a profound sense of purpose. We're talking about a transformation that allows you to weather any storm, emerging not just intact, but stronger, wiser, and more authentically yourself. If you're ready to unlock this incredible potential within you, to truly take charge of your emotional landscape and become the architect of your inner world, then you're in the right place. This path is about more than just surviving. It's about thriving, no matter what. Subscribe so we don't lose each other on this path of Stoic clarity. The first sign that you're becoming emotionally unstoppable is a newfound mastery over your initial reactions. Think about it. A frustrating email lands in your inbox, someone cuts you off in traffic, or a minor mishap derails your plans. What's your immediate response? For most of us, it's a surge of anger, annoyance, or disappointment. Our emotions often feel like automatic reflexes, firing off before we even have a chance to process what's happening. But an emotionally unstoppable individual learns to create a crucial pause between stimulus and response. This isn't about suppressing your feelings. It's about observing them, acknowledging their presence, and then consciously choosing how to react. Marcus Aurelius taught us the immense power of our judgment. He understood that it's not external events that disturb us, but our interpretation of those events. When you start recognizing that you have a choice in how you frame a situation, you've taken a monumental step forward. Instead of instantly getting angry at the driver who cut you off, you might think, perhaps they're in an emergency, or their actions don't dictate my inner peace. This doesn't mean you're condoning their behavior, but you're refusing to let it disrupt your tranquility. It's about detaching from the immediate emotional current and finding a space of conscious deliberation. This pause, this moment of reflection, is where true power lies. It's the space where you reclaim your agency, where you stop being a victim of circumstance and start becoming the deliberate commander of your emotional responses. It's a subtle shift, but its impact is profound, allowing you to navigate life's inevitable bumps with grace and composure, rather than being constantly thrown off balance. The second powerful indicator of your emerging emotional invincibility is a deep and practical understanding of what's within your control and what isn't. This concept, often called the dichotomy of control in Stoicism, is arguably one of its most liberating teachings. For so much of our lives, we exhaust ourselves trying to manipulate circumstances, people, and outcomes that are fundamentally beyond our grasp. We worry endlessly about the future, fret over what others think of us, or lament past events we cannot change. This constant struggle against the uncontrollable is a primary source of anxiety and emotional distress. An emotionally unstoppable person, however, learns to draw a clear line. They understand that their efforts, their intentions, their character, and their responses are largely within their dominion. The weather, the economy, other people's opinions, traffic, illness, these are externals, and while they can certainly influence our lives, they cannot define our inner state unless we permit them to. When you truly internalize this distinction, a massive weight is lifted. You stop wasting precious energy on things you can't change and instead channel your focus into what you can control: your actions, your attitude, and your judgments. This shift isn't about resignation. It's about strategic allocation of your mental and emotional resources. It empowers you to act effectively where you have influence and to accept with serenity what you cannot alter. It's about finding freedom not in having everything go your way, but in realizing that your true freedom lies in your inner response to whatever life presents. This clarity brings a profound sense of peace as you detach from the futile struggle against the inevitable and embrace the power of your own sovereign will. The third undeniable sign you're evolving into an emotionally unstoppable force is a growing indifference to external praise or criticism. Think about how much of our lives we spend seeking validation from others, shaping our actions and even our identities based on what we believe will garner approval. Conversely, how much emotional energy do we expend defending ourselves against criticism, feeling hurt by negative comments, or fearing judgment? This constant swing between craving praise and dreading criticism makes us incredibly vulnerable, tying our self-worth to the volatile opinions of others. An emotionally resilient individual understands that true value comes from within. They operate from a place of integrity, guided by their own virtues and principles, rather than by the applause or jeers of the crowd. Marcus Aurelius frequently reminded himself that the opinions of others are external, and therefore not within his control. What truly matters is whether he is acting virtuously, whether his character is sound, and whether he is fulfilling his duties. When you internalize this, the sting of criticism loses its power, and the allure of flattery becomes less intoxicating. You begin to realize that chasing external validation is a never-ending race. There will always be someone whose approval you seek or whose disapproval you fear. But when your self-worth is rooted in your own internal compass, you become unshakable. You can listen to feedback constructively, discerning what might genuinely help you improve, but you don't allow it to shatter your self-esteem or derail your purpose. This isn't about arrogance. It's about self-possession, an inner confidence that doesn't need external affirmation to stand tall. You become your own most important judge, and that frees you to live authentically and powerfully, unburdened by the fickle tides of public opinion. The fourth telltale sign that you're journeying towards emotional invincibility is the development of a profound sense of gratitude, even amidst hardship. It sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? How can one be grateful when faced with challenges, setbacks, or suffering? Yet this is precisely where an emotionally unstoppable person differentiates themselves. Instead of succumbing to bitterness or self-pity, they actively seek out what they can appreciate in any given moment, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant. This isn't about ignoring pain or pretending that difficulties don't exist. It's about cultivating a perspective that recognizes the inherent value in life itself, and often the lessons embedded within adversity. Marcus Aurelius, despite the immense burdens of leading an empire and facing constant threats, often expressed gratitude for the simple things: the dawn, the presence of good people, the ability to reason. He understood that our minds have a powerful tendency to focus on what's lacking or what's wrong. Gratitude acts as an antidote to this negativity bias, retraining our minds to see abundance and opportunity. When you practice gratitude, you shift your focus from what you don't have or what has gone wrong to what you do have and what is going right. Even a difficult experience can be reframed through a lens of gratitude for the lessons learned, the strength discovered, or the resilience forged. This practice doesn't magically erase problems, but it dramatically alters your emotional response to them. It fosters a sense of inner richness and contentment that is independent of external circumstances, creating a robust emotional shield against despair and fostering an outlook that finds light even in the darkest corners. The fifth powerful indicator that you're becoming emotionally unstoppable is an increasingly healthy relationship with discomfort and adversity. Most people spend their lives meticulously avoiding discomfort, seeking ease and pleasure at every turn. While there's nothing inherently wrong with seeking comfort, an over-reliance on it can make us emotionally fragile. When the inevitable hardships of life arrive: illness, loss, failure, financial strain, those accustomed to constant ease find themselves utterly overwhelmed and unprepared. An emotionally unstoppable individual, however, begins to view discomfort not as an enemy to be avoided, but as a teacher, a forge, a necessary component of growth. They understand that resilience isn't built in moments of blissful comfort, but through navigating challenging terrain. Marcus Aurelius, despite his position, often practiced voluntary discomfort, reminding himself that true strength comes from being able to endure. This doesn't mean masochism, but rather a deliberate cultivation of mental toughness. When you consciously expose yourself to minor discomforts, taking a cold shower, exercising when you don't feel like it, delaying gratification, you build your capacity to handle larger ones. More importantly, when genuine adversity strikes, you approach it with a different mindset. Instead of asking, "Why me?" you start asking, "What can I learn from this? How can I grow through this?" You recognize that struggle is often the prerequisite for strength. That growth happens at the edge of your comfort zone. This shift transforms adversity from a paralyzing threat into an opportunity for personal evolution, making you not just resilient, but truly anti-fragile, someone who doesn't just withstand stress, but actually gets stronger because of it. The sixth unmistakable sign of your journey to emotional invincibility is a profound sense of personal responsibility without succumbing to self-blame or guilt. This might sound like a fine line, but it's a crucial distinction. Many people either shirk responsibility, blaming external factors and others for their circumstances, or they internalize every negative outcome, burdening themselves with excessive guilt and self-criticism. An emotionally unstoppable individual embraces radical self-responsibility for their thoughts, actions, and reactions, understanding that they are the primary architects of their inner world. Marcus Aurelius constantly emphasized the importance of examining one's own judgments and actions, understanding that we always have the power to choose our response, regardless of external events. This means taking ownership of your emotional landscape, acknowledging your feelings, understanding their origins, and consciously deciding how to manage them, rather than letting them manage you. It's about recognizing that while you can't control everything that happens to you, you absolutely control how you interpret and respond to those events. This isn't about blaming yourself for things outside your control. It's about empowering yourself by focusing on your sphere of influence. For example, if you face a setback at work, instead of blaming colleagues or external circumstances, you might ask, "What role did my actions play? What can I learn to do differently next time? How will I respond to this challenge?" This mindset fosters proactive problem solving and continuous self-improvement, rather than getting stuck in a cycle of resentment or regret. By consciously choosing responsibility over blame, you reclaim your power, transforming potential victimhood into an active stance of agency and self-mastery, enabling you to navigate life's complexities with greater clarity and purpose. The seventh compelling sign that you're becoming emotionally unstoppable is the ability to practice objective observation, distancing yourself from your emotions rather than being consumed by them. Imagine you're watching a play, and your emotions are the actors on stage. For most of us, we're not just watching the play, we're on the stage, entangled in every scene, identifying so closely with the drama that we lose perspective. An emotionally resilient person learns to step back and become the audience. When anger flares or sadness descends, they don't immediately dive into it. Instead, they can observe it, perhaps thinking, "Ah, here is anger arising," or "I notice a feeling of sadness within me." This practice, often referred to as mindfulness or cognitive diffusion, is a cornerstone of Stoic practice. Marcus Aurelius often encouraged himself to look at things as they are, stripped of emotional judgment and narrative. He understood that our minds often create stories around our emotions, amplifying them and giving them more power than they inherently possess. By simply observing an emotion without judgment, you create a vital space between you and the feeling. This space allows you to analyze the emotion's triggers, understand its temporary nature, and decide how you want to respond rather than being swept away by its tide. It's like watching a cloud pass in the sky. You acknowledge its presence, but you don't become the cloud. This detachment isn't about suppression. It's about gaining clarity and control. It enables you to experience your emotions fully without letting them dictate your actions or undermine your inner peace. This capacity for objective observation provides an incredible sense of inner calm, allowing you to navigate intense emotional experiences with a steady hand, rather than being tossed about by every internal storm. The eighth clear indicator of your burgeoning emotional resilience is a consistent practice of daily reflection and self-assessment, viewing your experiences as opportunities for learning rather than sources of judgment. Most people live their lives rushing from one task to the next, rarely pausing to genuinely examine their thoughts, actions, and reactions. This lack of introspection means we often repeat the same mistakes, remain stuck in unproductive emotional patterns, and miss crucial opportunities for growth. An emotionally unstoppable individual, however, understands the immense value of conscious self-examination. Inspired by Stoic practices, they dedicate time, perhaps at the end of each day, to review their performance. This isn't about dwelling on failures or punishing oneself. It's a calm, objective analysis. Marcus Aurelius's Meditations is essentially his personal journal of such reflections, where he reminded himself of Stoic principles, evaluated his own conduct, and prepared for the challenges of the next day. During your own reflection, you might ask, where did I act virtuously today? Where did I fall short of my principles? How did I handle challenges? What could I have done differently? What emotions arose and how did I respond to them? The goal is not to shame yourself, but to gain insight, to understand your patterns, and to identify areas for improvement. This consistent self-audit transforms every day into a learning experience. Mistakes are no longer failures to be hidden, but valuable data points for growth. Successes are acknowledged, reinforcing positive behaviors. This disciplined introspection builds self-awareness, clarifies your values, and strengthens your resolve, making you increasingly adaptable and wise. You become your own best teacher, constantly refining your character and fortifying your emotional core against future challenges, moving ever closer to a state of profound self-mastery. The ninth undeniable sign that you're becoming emotionally unstoppable is a deep understanding and acceptance of impermanence and the cycle of life and death. This might sound morbid, but in Stoicism, contemplating mortality and the transient nature of all things is not about dwelling in gloom. It's a powerful tool for liberation and cultivating presence. So much of our emotional suffering stems from our attachment to things, people, and situations that are by their very nature temporary. We cling to youth, to possessions, to relationships, to achievements, and when these inevitably change or end, we experience profound grief, anxiety, and resistance. An emotionally resilient person learns to embrace the truth of memento mori. Remember you must die, and amor fati, love your fate. They understand that change is the only constant, that all things come into being and pass away, and that this natural cycle is not something to be fought against, but accepted as an integral part of existence. Marcus Aurelius frequently reminded himself of the fleeting nature of life, not to despair, but to appreciate the present moment and to act virtuously now. When you internalize this, you begin to live with a greater sense of urgency and appreciation. You cherish your loved ones more deeply, knowing your time together is finite. You pursue your goals with greater focus, understanding that opportunities are not endless. You detach from outcomes, knowing that even your greatest triumphs and deepest sorrows will eventually fade. This acceptance doesn't diminish joy, it amplifies it, making every moment precious. It doesn't eliminate grief, but it allows it to flow naturally without getting stuck in endless resistance. By facing the ultimate truth of impermanence, you free yourself from the tyranny of clinging, allowing you to navigate life's inevitable losses with a profound sense of peace and a renewed appreciation for the beautiful, transient dance of existence. Finally, the 10th and perhaps most profound sign that you are becoming truly emotionally unstoppable is a consistent alignment of your actions with your deepest values and principles. This isn't about having a theoretical understanding of what's right or good. It's about living it every single day, in every interaction, in every decision, no matter how small. Many people find themselves in a constant state of internal conflict where their actions betray their stated beliefs. This dissonance is a massive drain on emotional energy, leading to regret, guilt, and a pervasive sense of inauthenticity. An emotionally resilient individual, steeped in Stoic wisdom, makes it their life's mission to live according to virtue, wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. They spend time defining what these virtues mean to them and then consciously strive to embody them. Marcus Aurelius consistently urged himself to act in accordance with reason and the common good, always asking himself if his actions were just and benevolent. When your outward behavior is in harmony with your inner moral compass, you experience an incredible sense of integrity and inner peace. You are no longer swayed by external pressures to compromise your values because your conviction is strong. You face difficult choices not with anxiety, but with clarity, knowing that your principles will guide you. This alignment creates an unshakable inner foundation. Even if the world around you is in turmoil, even if you face criticism or failure, your core sense of self remains intact because you know you are living true to who you are. This isn't about achieving perfection, but about continuous effort and commitment to living a life of purpose and integrity. When your actions consistently reflect your highest values, you become a force that is not only emotionally resilient, but also deeply authentic and truly unstoppable, capable of navigating life with unwavering confidence and profound inner peace.